Pastor Scott from the Centereach Bible Church, and I just wanted to give everybody an update, and we will continue to give you updates on Operation Isaac, but we're nearing a crucial stage in the process, and as you can see here, this is Operation Isaac. It is now completed. It is a multifunctional, overly sophisticated, multi-purpose vehicle. It's like a Swiss Army knife of vehicles. It has onboard air, onboard 110 volts. It's able to repair itself. We have all type of replacement parts, tools, workbench, everything you need, winch. And this vehicle is going to be used to go to West Africa. As a matter of fact, in about 2 weeks, it'll be in West Africa, Lord willing. And we're going to be going there to rescue a whole bunch of orphans who were left orphaned by the Ebola outbreak a couple of years back in Sierra Leone, West Africa. The person in charge of this is Ray Wigdow. He's a missionary that we support here in our church. He also is working with children and orphans in China, and he's also working in this village in West Africa. And he wants to bring these children a life. They're all by themselves. They have no family. All their parents died. We're going to build schools, vocational tools for them, bring them the love of God and the love of Jesus Christ. But to get there in this very remote place, we need a command central vehicle that can get in this remote area, bring in supplies, be a logistical outpost with radio communication, food and water supplies. This is going to be vehicle number 1. Later on, vehicle number 2, which we're praying about, is a large Toyota Land Cruiser, which we can bring personnel in and out. But that's where we are right now. We've completed it. We put the roof rack on. It's all ready to go. It has water fording capabilities of 3 feet deep that it can go through. And we're looking forward to seeing it in West Africa. Keep it in prayer. We're still praying for the funds to get it over there. We're about halfway there. But thank you very much for all your support, everyone who has been a part of this, and just keep praying for it and pray for those children. Thank you very much. God bless. Okay, this is the tutorial for this 1998 Jeep Wrangler 6-cylinder 5-speed manual transmission. Now this vehicle is very, very complicated. No one can get in it and operate it without knowing how to do it. Now I know where we're bringing this vehicle, theft and crime is a big issue, so I have incorporated many security things and stop gaps to keep it from being stolen and taken away. Now the first thing I want to explain to you is how do we start this thing. It's not like a normal vehicle. The first thing you have to do is over here on the hood, this is our master battery disconnect. I recommend every single night when you're done with the vehicle, you shut it off. When you're ready to use the vehicle, you put it on. That engages the electrical system. Without doing that, nothing is going to work. Okay, now with that engaged, what we do is we come over here and we come into the vehicle. You're going to take your normal key, put it in the ignition. But we have a clutch delete button, and this is also a security measure. The vehicle will not start unless this switch right here is flicked up. Okay, with that switch flicked up, then you could turn it, make sure you put it in neutral or put the clutch in, and it'll start up. Okay, when you want to shut it down, you shut it down like a regular vehicle. Okay, while we're here, these lights, auxiliary 2 is for the off-road lights in the front. Auxiliary 3 is for the off-road lights in the back. This switch here, okay, this switch is part of a system when you're going through really slow rock crawling and the power steering is being really overheated, and it's a hot day in the jungle and it's like 110 degrees, if the steering starts to cavitate and be hard to turn, you flick this switch on, and this switch will cool down the power steering system, so the power steering will run no matter how hot it is. Okay, that's that. The Jeep does not have air conditioning. I'm sorry, it does have heat. Everything else works as normal. Headlights, cruise control, all those things. Okay, over here, if we can get in here, this is our four-wheel drive lever. Okay, that's two-wheel drive. That's four-wheel drive high. That's four-wheel drive low. Now you'll notice on this shifter here, there is a little lever. This is a throttle override. When you're running the winch, or when you're running the inverter for the 110 volts, you raise this up and it'll bring the idle up to high idle, so it keeps everything charging. Obviously you don't use it when you're driving. When you're done using the winch or the inverter or power tools, you put that back down to normal. Okay, over here on the 5-speed transmission, there are switches. These right now don't do anything. They were for another project that I didn't have time to incorporate. Okay, over here there is another shifter right now. That again is another project that didn't get completed. You don't need it, so don't worry about it. This is the parking brake. Over here, you bring the seat up, and if you'll notice in here, maybe you'll get in there, Jeffrey, and I'll come in from that side. Okay. As you'll see in here, we have these tanks. These tanks are for our air system. Over here is our air compressor. When you flick this air compressor on, you leave it on. It has a pressure regulator valve. When these tanks all fill up, it'll shut off, and you'll have your onboard air, which you get access to it from the back. I'll show you that in a little while, where you plug into that. This air system will run power tools that I have. It'll fill up the tires, any other purpose you might have. When you're not using it, shut off the air compressor. This air compressor gets very hot. The engine must be running for this air compressor to go on, to run it properly. Okay. Over here are spare axle parts. This is a spare front drive shaft. This is a spare right front axle. In this box here are other parts. I have a rear drive shaft. I have every possible part, brake lines, axle shafts, drive shafts, anything you need to fix this Jeep other than a new engine is in this box. Okay, so you have all the parts that are for this. Okay, down over here, this is a 1500 watt inverter. Right now I have plugged into it. This is the charger for the cordless drill that I have in the back. You could run small equipment on it, nothing big. This also must have the engine running to use it. This here is a magnetic based work light. I'm going to come around to that side and I'll show you. Come around to the front. This work light, if you break down in the middle of the night, in the front of the vehicle and on the passenger side rear is a 12 volt jack. You plug this on in there, and this thing you can put anywhere you want. Okay, and this thing is very powerful. It's a very powerful work light. Okay, let's go back around over there. Okay, back over here, you have this box here. This box here is your recovery equipment. Everything for the winch, the remote control for the winch, tree straps, chains, hooks, a come along, a pulley so you can double back for really hard pulls, All your winch gear is in this box, and most of the stuff on the Jeep is labeled what it's for. Okay, so that's what's inside here. Let's go, Jeffrey, stay there for a second. I don't know if you can see over here. You see this here?
The little box here?
Yeah. Okay. This box here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you one set of keys, ignition key and this little key. This little key opens up this security box. In this security box are the keys for everything else. Everything is going to be locked. The hood is locked. Everything is locked. You need this little key to get into here, and I have multiple extra ignition keys. Now I'm going to open this up. I'm going to get the key out for the hood, and I'll show you how that works. Let's come around. While we're over here, this is your snorkel. Okay, your fording depth of your water I marked on the side of the vehicle. Okay, I wouldn't go any deeper in water than that. Okay, don't use this as a guideline. Use the hood as a guideline of how deep you can go. Over here on the winch, you lift this up. In that little black box is a remote control. You plug it in there. It has a toggle switch, in, out, and stop. And that controls the winch. I'm going to have a cover for this winch here. Okay, this hood lock is a little tricky because you put it on like that and you actually take it off. Undo these latches. Bring this back like this. And you can see it's pretty sophisticated. Over here on this side over here, everything that I added is all fused together. And this is your main power source, positive and negative 12 volt. Over here is our deep cycle Optima heavy duty recovery battery. It is made for winching and inverters. Now if you notice here, I have a couple of things that are not connected. Okay, these two wires here, you can see one's negative and one's positive. That is for the alarm system. I don't know if you want it. If you want the alarm system in it, you just connect it. I used quick disconnect terminals here. You just connect those to the battery. If you want to use the winch, and it's too hard to explain why I did this, the winch will not work unless you take this negative terminal and you connect it to this negative side of the battery. Again, everything is marked negative, positive. When you're done using the winch, disconnect it. Okay, that's everything over here. Let's see. Come down over here, if you can get underneath here. Okay, this system here, this is a JK disconnect. This is an axle disconnect. Now this is very important. It has a cotter pin pull here. You pull this cotter pin out and this thing comes out and you bring it up and you connect it to this point here. You do it on both sides. Now you only disconnect this sway bar when you're going through severe rock crawling. Otherwise I would leave it connected. Reason being, when you don't have this connected, the vehicle cannot be driven at high speeds. And especially if you have a lot of weight on that roof rack, this must be connected. So only disconnect this if you have to go under real twisty terrain. It gives you much more articulation and much more traction. But for the most part, I would leave that alone. Okay, we're going to go over here to the back of the vehicle. Oh, just another thing on the inside here. We have a CB. I don't know if that's going to work for you, but we have a CB. In here is the lug nut socket and locking socket for all the wheels. They're in here. And extra valve stems. When you come around to the back, let me do this from this way here. When you open up this tailgate, This is our jack, our air chuck for our air system. Once the air system has been hooked up, it has been running and it's up to full pressure, you plug that into here, and then with this you can run multiple tools, like a little ratchet, an air system to fill up the tires. I have multiple air tools in here. And this is a pretty powerful air system that you can use. We'll leave that here for now. Inside this box here is your cordless drill, which is charged off the inverter. All kinds of hand tools, jacks, gloves, slip ties. I try to incorporate everything you can possibly need. These here are brand new extra axle hub systems for both sides. Sometimes they go, you have two new ones. Here is a full-on tool set with everything you need to know. This is a special socket for the front four-wheel drive axle. Everything has been purposely designed for this vehicle. Tire repair kit, electrical system repair kit. This will be locked. We have a shovel, we have a machete, all incorporated there. Okay, if you come around here, this is our rack where you can store things on. The rack up on top, you can take off, you can move it around if you don't like it. Whatever you do, it comes off easy, but this rack stays on. I think that's about everything we need to know. If you have any questions about anything, please contact me at scott70x7@gmail.com, or you can contact Ray. I'm going to also incorporate a paper manual with all the details that I spoke to you about. But for the most part, I think we have everything covered here. You should be able to figure it out. Remember, when I drop it off at the seaport, I'm going to shut off that battery disconnect. I'm doing that as safety reasons. So when you go to pick up the Jeep, make sure you turn that. I don't want anybody to steal anything when it's being transported. So that's it. I think you got just about everything you need to know. Thank you. Okay, one other thing I forgot to mention, which is a good thing. This vehicle has heavily armored undercarriage. These here are called rock gliders. They go deep underneath here, under the oil pan, under the radiator, under the steering box, under the gas tank. There are skid plates. You could jump and climb over rocks, and you really don't have to worry about anything being damaged underneath there. It's designed to go over things and not break anything. The front axles are heavy duty. Everything has been ultra modified. The rear axle has been reinforced with extra support braces. So this thing should be able to take a beating. The engine is in great shape. It's been tuned up. It needs absolutely nothing. It has a high flow air system. It is going to be powerful. It is going to be good on fuel. It is ready to go, and you should have no issues at all. If you do, please contact me. Thank you.